Today I'm here with Tanya Modini and Luisa Martiri, the co-directors of Australian short film The Moths Will Eat Them Up.
Look, it seems like he's waiting for me to get off the train. He's doing it again.
Okay, maybe he's not feeling well. You need to calm down.
The film touches on gendered violence and the constant risk assessments women have to make in their everyday life. It debuted at the Brisbane International Film Festival, and the short has since gone on to domestic and international acclaim, most recently nominated for an AACTA Award for the Best Short Film of 2022. Tanya, Luisa, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about the premise behind The Moths Will Eat Them Up?
Sure. The idea came from me travelling on a train home one night a couple of years ago, and I live in the Sunshine Coast hinterland, and it was getting later and darker, and a guy got on the train and he started doing similar stuff to what you see in the film. And it seemed like he was waiting for somebody to get off the train. And the train stations there are tiny. They're like those single light train stations where if you get off, there's nobody there. So it was quite a terrifying experience, but it was also pretty a sensory experience that I thought would be good for film.
And how did you wind up teaming up together, and what was the process like from first experience and that first thought to bringing it to screen?
So we teamed up together through the Screen Queensland RIDE initiative, which stands for Respect, Inclusion, Diversity and Equality. Tanya's had submitted and was successful with her application with Moths Will Eat Them Up, but she had applied just as a single person. She didn't have a team around her. And the executive producers who were part of the initiative, basically, they knew I was around, basically. I thought that I'd be a good fit with Tanya, and they thought that I could produce and co-direct with her. And we met each other, and we hit it off, and we got straight into it. So I think the turnaround from like meeting each other to starting pre-production was, I think, literally maybe an hour.
Exactly.
So
I'm within an hour looking at it.
We got straight into it.
Yeah. And what was the production like? Was it a challenge to shoot?
It was initially very hard to find locations. So filming on trains is very expensive if you go live train, moving train, and even filming on platforms is quite expensive. So we were lucky enough to find a decommissioned train, which in fact was the same model I was on that night. And we found that in a warehouse at the back of Ipswich. So that kind of solved a lot of our problems. We still had some continuity issues from platform to train, but we sort of got around those.
And I think just overall, there were a lot of elements in this script that were definitely ambitious and challenging for the budget we had as well. And it's funny because you have $55,000 and you think it's like the biggest budget in the world, and it's never enough. It's never enough. But I mean, there was the train, obviously the visual effects was a huge one. Like we had no idea how we were going to do that. And yeah, so it was ambitious and it was challenging, but we managed to pull it off somehow, which is good.
Yeah. And I read that the in between the cast and the crew, there was a distinct effort to make the cast and the crew very, or where it could be very female dominated, and something like 65% of the creative team behind the project was filled by women. Can you speak about why that was so important to you, and particularly in relation to the story being told here?
Sure. I guess this is a story about gendered violence, and this is a story about the risk assessments that women have to do everywhere they go without even really knowing they're doing it half the time. It's kind of something that you're brought up with and you just do. So in order to give the film the authenticity that we wanted it to have, we decided to try and get as many female creatives and crew on board as we possibly could. So that was the idea behind that.
Yeah, and I think most of our post-production team, our editor, our colorist, our sound designer, and our composer were all female. And I think that the film really just like came to, I mean, it was a very post-heavy film, so, but I think it just like came to life in post. And I think part of that was because all of those women who, like all of us, have had those experiences, and I think they were able to, their practice and their craft was informed by those experiences, and I think that really came to life on screen and through their work on the film.
And the film's received many accolades, most recently obviously an AACTA nomination for the Best Short Film 2022. That must be pretty thrilling for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of it's unbelievable, really. We like I've said before, like we didn't go into this wanting to win awards, and I don't think, you know, I think some filmmakers do, but we didn't. So we just wanted to make the best film we possibly could, and somehow we've just, you know, gotten all this recognition, which has been amazing. So yeah, very unexpected, but we're very happy.
What are your hopes for the project going forward? I mean, hopefully it wins the AACTA, but after that as well, where do we think it could go?
Yeah, it would be wonderful if it won the AACTA. But other than that, it is entered into the Oscars, so that would be kind of the next thing. Getting shortlisted for that, obviously, very competitive. So I'm not sure how that will go, but yeah, but that would be kind of the next step. We have signed a distribution deal with the sales agent in Berlin. So once our festival run is over, they're going to start selling it to the different territories and different platforms and formats. So yeah, so, you know, stay tuned. Hopefully it'll be on many screens.
Amazing. And finally, what's next for both of you? Do you have anything exciting on the radar?
Yeah, I've got a few things on the go at the moment. I've been working on a feature film called Seeing Scout with Stephanie Dower for a few years now, and that's in late development. And I've just optioned a book, A Lifetime of Impossible Days, which won the 2020 Queensland Book of the Year. So we're I'm adapting that with a fantastic writer up here in Queensland called Amy Parry. So they're the two things I'm throwing myself into at the moment.
Yeah, the main thing probably that I am throwing myself into is the feature adaptation of my last short film Pools. I'm working on that with the screenwriter at the moment, and yeah, hoping to put that into production ASAP.
Well, thanks so much for your time, guys. The Moths Will Eat Them Up is currently nominated for an AACTA Award, and otherwise, hopefully, we'll see it on a screen soon after it wins an Oscar.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
See
guys.
you later.
Yeah.